Boss Rush 900 Day 2. So this one's a very difficult day. We've got Kazakus as the first boss, and then Rend Blackhand and Xaravan as the last one, which puts 8 mercenaries in play. So you've got 2 stuck on the bench after your artillery strike that get Omega buffed, and you have to deal with them. They're going to be the Xaravan ads, and they can act at 3 speed, so just hitting Frost Ritual is not enough to deal with both of them. So our plan here is to use Arfus to slow them down, and then Frost Ritual freeze them, so we have to hit specifically Frost Ritual. The other problem is that Rend Blackhand is artillery strike resistant to some degree, where he redirects damage to himself from his dragon ads that are adjacent, and then you need a second artillery strike to wipe out that other dragon ad, otherwise you have to deal with it, and it copies itself whenever an enemy dies. So if you only hit 1 artillery strike, the fight is much more difficult, although maybe still possible with certain treasures. But the comp that I'm planning to use here, we can't use our normal Kazakus strategy either, because we need all these party slots for the cleanup on the last boss. So I'm running with a little bit of a hybrid comp here where we're using Frost to kill Kazakus, which makes the fight more difficult and has some stat requirements. But the party I'm using is Balinda with Water Elemental, Bwonsamdi with Arena Contender, Varden with Band of Frost, Arfus with Downward Dog, Genn with Gilnean Strength, and Voone with Dragon Rune Axe. We're using Voone and Genn over the other artillery strikes because they're both able to activate the Frost Ritual treasure every turn. We also have to keep every mercenary alive after the first fight, because we need them on the last boss, because otherwise those Xaravan ads could potentially act at 3 speed before we slow them with Arfus, and then kill our source of Frost Ritual or our Frost Ritual activators. So our plan is to put Arfus and Bwonsamdi and another sacrificial mercenary in play, get the Arfus slow off, and then bring out our freeze team. On this fight, we need a neutral attack anomaly that's low enough that it does not one-shot either our Varden or our Balinda. So on that run, I just retired. There was only they had like 400 something attack. That's too high for my Varden to survive. My Varden's the lowest health out of those. This one's a good one though. So in my case, I have 299 hit points on my Varden, who's the lowest out of those 2. So if these have like 280 or less attack, they do gain a bit of attack when they use this Crazed Flurry. So you need a little bit of buffer room there. It's also good if your Water Elemental survives swinging into them. It makes you get a lot more ramp and makes the fight a lot easier. But you can win if your Water Elementals die by swinging into them. So if there's that like middle ground range where your Water Elemental is just too weak even for a no attack anomaly, you could still potentially win if you have enough Band of Frost damage. But on turn 1, we just freeze Kazakus and bounce, and then do some damage. And then turn 2, so on turn 1, they always attack Bwonsamdi, it appears. But on turn 2, a lot of times they'll hit your Varden and Balinda. So you want to freeze whichever one casts doubling on the second turn if either any of them do. If they both cast doubling, then you probably just have to restart, unfortunately. I've never had that happen, but I think it's a 1 in 3 chance for each of them to use doubling. So if you hit that 1 in 3 and 1 in 3, you might end up having a death there. And that attack that just hit my Bwonsamdi will oftentimes hit Varden or Balinda, so that's why you need the low attack anomaly there. You don't really have anything to protect against that. Once you hit turn 3, though, you should be in the clear. You can Ice Lance on turn 3, so you can just save your Water Elementals for the unfreeze turn. And then from there, you just keep everybody locked down, ramp your Frost, and kill everybody. I like to just put damage into Kazakus, and we're going to Ice Lance here. There's not really a reason to swing with these Water Elementals on this turn, because we don't do any damage at 5 speed or slower. So I like to swing with them on a future turn where they can activate the crit passive on these golems and give you some extra damage with your AoE, so I'll do that on the next turn. So on this turn, you want to swing with one of these elementals if it can survive. You can swing with the second one as well, but it'll give you fewer elementals on the future turns, like for the second unfreeze. But in my case, I know I have enough damage, so I can just swing with both of these here. You could also swing with that third one if you want to risk it. But you don't have to. I'm going to hold it back. You can also either Flurry or Cold Snap on this turn. If you Flurry on this turn, you might get a Cold Snap by killing one of these next turn. In my case, I actually killed one this turn completely because I focused it down with the Flurry random shots. We can probably snap off this guy though, because if we do this, we'll get a crit here. And this will also get another activation of Band of Frost. So I think I need to do this shot here, and then that Cold Snap should freeze him when this dies. So that should work, because this won't crit, so that'll do like 400 and then 500. So this will still be alive, and then we'll get to Cold Snap off of it. I guess I might as well just swing with this, and then I'm not even going to bounce, since we should be down to a single enemy. We'll just Cold Snap for ramp, basically. And I'm just not bouncing to save on animation time, and we have an Ice Lance next turn if we need it, but I think he might just die here. Yeah. You can go through the extra cycle of freezing and bouncing and be more conservative with your water elementals if you have less damage, and you'll do more total damage that way. Alright, well we missed our artillery strike, so this is a bust, and we missed on Varden as well. Go again. Lots of resetting this day. I think it's only like 15% or something, or 20% at most, to hit a no attack anomaly on the neutrals, so you do have to reroll quite a bit usually. Lucky. Alright, at least we're getting lucky on the attack anomalies on these couple runs. I just had to reset like 10 times before this. And then missed on my treasures afterwards anyway. Just freezing that Kazakus. Alright, so no doubling attacks. I'll just freeze here. Gotten pretty experienced at this fight already. Just from having to do all the rerolls with the bad RNG. It's the Ice Lance bounce and a little bit of damage. Then we do our ramp and AoE turn. And I'll go for a flurry again here, in case we get a cold snap the following turn. So I wanted to do a flurry. Alright, that's a good cold snap setup. Forget that these guys, yeah, they do crit on their swing, so if I swing at this one, it'll die. So I'm just gonna swing here for ramp, and I'm gonna not. Trying to avoid some animation time here. We do have an Ice Lance if we need it. So that'll kill this guy. Let's freeze here. Still have an Ice Lance next turn, but I think they die. Alright, give me that Artillery Strike and give me that Frost Ritual. Stolen Invitation is potentially useful. Alright, so we hit 2 mercenaries that are not any of the required mercenaries, and Stoneheart Salvation makes the Sayge fight reasonable, so I'm going to go ahead and attempt it here. We can still hit all the treasures that we need after this. Not having a Varden treasure is not great for this fight, but it's potentially possible. Get here, High Shadow, Medium Arcane, and no Holy. So this might be okay. The Shadow is dangerous though. We don't have a good way to freeze Sayge until turn 3. So if he uses like Shadow AoE skill, we might be in trouble. Got a Holy Blast here, so that's good. We can freeze the one that's doing the arcane damage and do a bounce.
Job's done.
And we also got no attack anomaly on the reds, which is good for our water elemental. You also kind of have to hope for good RNG on the predictions, because you take 200 damage if you end up having to use one of the predicted abilities. You can also bring out Genn at some point to heal if you need to. For now, I think we're okay. Like, we could have just brought out Genn instead of Varden on this turn, since Varden's Ice Lance isn't ready anyway, if we wanted to heal our Balinda. But getting another water elemental is really good too. Okay, so this is dangerous. Can't stop it because we're not gonna be able to cold snap anything. I'm just gonna cold snap for damage because we don't want to take this damage here. And I'm just gonna do damage to Sayge, and we're gonna use this water elemental to freeze here. This one will just tank this hit because it'll get buffed by Stoneheart Salvation before that goes off. I think we survive with everything. But this is the ability we really don't want to see from Sayge. We get to freeze Sayge next turn, potentially. Although if the prediction hits Ice Lance, that's bad for us. But we will be able to survive that 200 damage, so we'll still be okay, I think. That does happen. We're still good to run out the Frost team. This fight's not guaranteed by any means with these treasures. It's a lot easier if you do already have your Frost Ritual. Okay, so we're gonna Ice Lance, even though we're gonna take the damage. That sucks. I could swing with this. It's gonna get the prediction debuff. So the odds that it gets out of range... I could get out of range to still swing and get the prediction damage next turn. So I could wait on it, or I could use it now for ramp. I think I'll wait on it. I'm not sure which is better. Nah, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it now. Yeah, Yeah, this should be fine. So we at least get another turn of reprieve from Sayge. Although we might get bad passive predictions here. We'll see. Now I could bring out Genn here, and we do have Stolen Invitation as well. So we can get Bwonsamdi back in play still if we need to. I think I'm going to do that, because we get extra activations of Stonehearth Salvation with Genn. And we can get health buffs and stuff, although he could get crit by Sayge, so we might have to transform him. But we'll see what happens. Alright, we can also heal, but this is gonna damage us if we use this as our even speed, so that is not good. I can go ahead and spend a water elemental now to make board space so that we can do a summon next turn if we want to. Unfortunately, we couldn't heal with either of our even speeds because of the debuff. We could still use those abilities and take the damage, but I'm just going to do a flurry instead. I'm going to use this water elemental up. I'm going to swing on the weaker one. Shoot Sayge with that. Actually, I just want the damage. I don't think Balinda's at that much risk of dying, because we're going to freeze the reds anyway, so she'll get healed up by Stonehearth Salvation and stuff. And I'll do damage. Actually, I'll do damage to this guy in case we get to a cold snap, and then we'll do a flip. I could swing with this for ramp before the flurry. Would also ramp this shot. I'm going to do that as well. Should still go afterwards. It's going to be a while before we get another bounce here, but we can do some good damage, so no Ice Lance this turn. So I could heal, or I can AoE. These are going to die. This one would survive, so I guess we just swing with both, though. I don't want either of these. Even though this does low damage, I don't want to get stuff put on cooldown. Oh, we could maybe get a cold snap here. Unfortunately, it's slow enough now that it doesn't prevent stuff. It would prevent this attack, potentially. This is the guy I'm likely to cold snap off of, so I need to damage him. Oh, the cold snap activates after this AoE now. So 425 plus 820. That's enough to kill this. So I don't have to freeze this guy. I could save this water elemental. I can just freeze here. That's a 5 speed. And then this AoE goes off. Then this would activate. Then we cold snap. I guess that's fine. This doesn't do enough to kill Genn, so we should be there. I think this is okay, and this also doesn't kill this water elemental that I'm leaving behind. So I think this works out. Alright, we should be pretty set now. This one, oh, it actually doesn't survive because of the crackback damage. I'm just going to swing with that one. I could also Ice Lance, but that's enough damage to kill him, so we'll just do that. And killing him is pretty good. Alright, so Frost Ritual and Artillery Strike. Let's go. The double Artillery Strike and the Frost Ritual. I got the Frost Ritual. Still no Artillery Strike. But we haven't missed Artillery Strike yet, which is very important. So we have chances to hit it still. None of this really matters. I'll just take this, I guess. More damage. Coren's also possible, and we have Frost Ritual, so it's actually pretty easy. So this is going to take a little bit of extra time, but we should win this fight every time, since we have good treasures. I think you just run the Frost team out here. I could run Genn out and then let Bwonsamdi come off the bench. That does give me 3 freezes on turn 1. Let me just do that. I think it is safe to use Bwonsamdi and not Genn, but since we have the option to triple freeze on turn 1 and then have Bwonsamdi come out, I'm just going to go with that. I think he seems to Grim Patron every time today. His AI is different depending on the day, though. I can also let this happen and then cold snap it next turn. I'm probably going to do that. So I can freeze here and freeze here, and then let this water elemental just hang out. Just make sure you act with Varden first, and then you use your 4 speed with Balinda so that it activates the Frost Ritual. And all their stuff should be slow, so... The only thing that's faster is like this summon, I think. Okay, so we're just going to cold snap here. So everyone's dealt with there. We're going to get some Frost. And... I guess I can just make a summon here. And I could bounce. Refresh that. If I do that, though, I just want to do damage here. I guess I'll just do a bounce. It doesn't really matter, though, because we have so many freezes with the Frost Ritual. We could just skip the animation time and not do a bounce and just keep freezing them every turn. But I'll get the extra water elemental out, and then after that, we'll stop bouncing. Save the animation time. This way we have an extra character in play to ramp with the Stonehearth Salvation. So we'll get extra End of Frost activations by swinging with these water elementals. I'm just going to shoot here because Varden crits the reds. And then... Let's see, that does activate before... Yeah, so this will survive. Alright. Just getting our freeze activations here. So we're ramping health on these with all these attacks, and then they'll give us double activations off of every freeze with that Frost Ritual. Alright, so now we're going to probably do a cold snap this turn because he's doing a summon here at 4 speed, so we can just cold snap right after that. Get some extra freeze that way. And we have Frost Ritual, so I don't have to bounce or anything here. I've got so much ramp now that they're basically dead. I could just do a flurry here. And there. Like, none of this should really matter at this point. That flurry should kill everything. Alright, so we just need the artillery strikes. We missed. So if you miss, you should take Stolen Invitation if you can. Still need to hit the other artillery strike though. Got all the way through and then whiffed on the double artillery strike. I don't think there's a way... Maybe. The problem is if you Arfus the big group, we did get double Stolen Invitation, so we can freeze a lot of things. But if we Arfus the first group, the two on the bench will not get slowed by Arfus because it's like a debuff that's applied to the stuff in play. So the odds that we make it through are not good. I mean, I guess I'll try it, but I don't know about this one. You really need at least one artillery strike. If we were to do this, we're gonna need to slow these guys, because it at least slows 3. We're never gonna get more than that. We don't want to expose our Frost Ritual. Don't really want to expose Balinda. And I don't really want to expose him either, so I guess we just throw Voone out here and hope for the best. So we're gonna need to kill off our Arfus and bounce, and Voone's just hanging out. I don't know that attack reduction on anybody is especially useful. I guess this does the most. Man, I just cannot get the treasures I need today. Well, our Voone survived. I guess the board was too full to spawn an extra thing, so that's good. So now we're going to need this. And we have double Stolen Invitation, so I guess I could just put Voone out. I don't know if this works out though, because we're going to get the unslowed Xaravans, and then it's probably going to be 3 Xaravans, 2 of which are unslowed. So if they use their 3-speed attack, it could be problematic. Oh, we got the, oh right, that's on the far left, not the, Okay, well they both used 4 speeds here, so that's good. This doesn't freeze because it doesn't target, so we need to use our axe throw. I'm actually going to axe throw here. And then freeze there. If this dies, it spawns a copy of that sorcerer. So I think I'm going to let that guy act instead. The good news is nothing's buffed because we did an artillery strike. So that's interesting. And we got a low fire anomaly, so this thing's not too dangerous, and it doesn't crit anything. We're going to get our Stolen Invitation mercenaries here. This might be doable. One problem though is we're not gonna have board space for a Genn summon to block melee attacks. So if there is a 3-speed one, then I'm in trouble. So I need to get rid of these guys that aren't slowed ASAP. We are gonna get a lot of Frost Ramp though, and then we can get an AoE at the end of it. And we're also getting Stonehearth Salvation buffs, so our Water Elemental can actually swing at something and not die. So let's see, I need to freeze both the 4 speeds. So let's go here and, so that it maybe crits here. And I could bounce. That would refresh these freezes to eliminate at least 1 turn of possible RNG, and we can come back to them when we have more ramp. So maybe I'll do a bounce here. So that guy's frozen, and then this guy's frozen. And then this guy's frozen. And I can swing with this if I want to, just for ramp. we do have a Fire Frost ability that's activating before this would swing, so it will get health buffed, so it would survive swinging into whatever I feel like. This does have 1400 anomaly, so it'll heal back to that value, so do these. So if I do like 500 or more to that, I would like to use this AoE if I can, but I don't think I can because I don't have 4-speed attacks to stop these, so I'd have to let one of these through. Don't really want to do that. They just do too much. Actually, Voone's gonna heal. I could let one of these through just so I can get the AoE off with Balinda with the ramp. But I could also just do that like next turn or something. It's kind of interesting. Because this will get healed for 175, so it's going to be over 300 health. So I would survive that. That could kill my Varden though. But Varden might get buffs. I think I'm just going to freeze them all, and then we'll just do the Balinda thing AoE later. But I might as well swing with this because there's not going to be a sorcerer next turn. So if I wanted to like kill it off or something, I can just get the ramp now. It's probably more useful on one of these, since they're lower attack, and this one's going to heal back up probably because I won't be able to kill it just yet, and it's going to be possibly below its health value there, or its anomaly health value there. I guess I can... Wait, I need a freeze here. I was going to say I could maybe crit over here. We do have a freeze on each one. The Frost Ritual is before both of these. Just double checking everything before I pull the trigger here. There's also the option to not bounce, but I think I'm just going to ramp off the other guys that are already slowed where it's much safer, and then I'll come back to these guys when I have more ramp and I can just like one-shot them basically. These are the most dangerous ones though, because this is the one that makes copies when enemies die, and these are the ones that are not slowed by Arfus. Actually, my party order, I should probably make it so that Genn... I don't know if there's... You'd have to change the whole party order around, but I would want my Genn to come out rather than my Bwonsamdi from Stolen Invitation if I don't have enough party slots. It's kind of interesting. I actually can just bring out Genn instead of Voone here to have more board space. I think I'm going to do that. And that way we can make summons if we get the opportunity. And we won't be as restricted on board slots for our Stolen Invitation. I could also do the same thing with Bwonsamdi and like guarantee a bounce. Okay, so Rend has a lot of HP. I guess that's his normal amount. Okay, so at least these water elementals dying wouldn't activate duplication thing, so we should be good there. I am going to... I could do a summon, but I think I want to do like a Space Maker here. And this is actually an arcane attack, even though it's Frost Ritual. So we only get one activation, and this happens after the water elemental swings. So if I wanted to get this water elemental to survive, I would have to use the 4-speed instead of the AoE. So even though it redirects the damage, I think if I target something here, it freezes Gith, even though the damage goes here, with the way that Frost Ritual works. So I think I'm going to do that. And then that should give this a health buff, which will allow it to survive this swing. But we cannot get either of them high enough to survive that swing. So I guess we just do it like that. And then we'll get our Bwonsamdi in play here. Yeah, so it does freeze the Gith, even though the damage redirects. Okay, so we'll do a Frost Ritual. And we basically need to shoot with all three of these and save this Water Elemental. So... do I want to kill this guy fast? Might be better to just focus damage on Rend. Oh, so this guy's too fast for Bwonsamdi. So I'm gonna have to freeze with Bwonsamdi on one of these slower guys. Let's do it like this. Bwonsamdi. Alright, so this is first. Bwonsamdi is gonna freeze Ith. And then we'll put Genn here, put Balinda here. I actually probably need to put Balinda on Rend because Belinda's going to get the frost scaling. So that goes first. We'll put Bwonsamdi on Gith. And actually... Okay, so I have to do a fast attack here. So we'll use Genn for that. Yeah, so Bwon there, and then we'll put Balinda on. Good. Alright, Frost Ritual. Balinda here. In here, and Bwon. Alright, so I guess we probably made it through. I would like an opportunity to get a summon from Genn at some point, which I can do when this has enough hit points. That way, when we get the faster Xaravan adds out, we have an extra taunt buffer. So I think I'm going to do that now. So we'll use our Water Elemental on that guy, do a Genn summon, and we'll freeze here and shoot there. We have enough hit points now that since we didn't artillery strike, these Xaravan adds don't actually hit that hard. So we could even survive a swing on our Varden at this point because of our Stonehearth Salvation. So Frost Ritual. Let's shoot here, here, and here. And now we're also health buffing this taunt, so we're getting even more safety. I think we made it through this. I could also do a bounce anytime I want to, but there's really no reason to. Just keep doing these same targets. And Belinda's doing a lot of damage now, so pretty soon we'll just be one-shotting everything. Rend's the only actual high health one, so once he dies, we'll already be at enough frost ramp to just one-shot. I could probably just switch over to like flurrying and stuff now. But I'll just keep going with this. Until something dies. This gives us more time to ramp our health too, just for that extra layer of safety, even though I'm sure we don't need it at this point. I could even let that thing summon to give me a cold snap target, but I don't need to do that. Yeah, I guess we'll just do the same thing. So Rend's gonna die. And then this will finally hit Gith here. I can also use this summon to swing and give me another freeze if I want to. But I'm just preserving health for now. Stalling a bit. I I don't think order matters. The only thing that order should matter for is the Dragonkin Sorcerer has that like cleave attack, the Heat-Seeking Flame or whatever it's called. But we're not gonna let it cast, so it shouldn't matter. Okay, I can just kill everybody here in AoE. So I think I'm just gonna do that. We'll get some more ramp here. I guess I'll go ahead and let that ramp as well. I don't think this really is going to even cast, so it doesn't really matter what I do with Bwonsamdi. There's not much value in a bounce either. Alright, last little bit of cleanup here. Got these faster but frozen Xaravan ads to deal with. So this almost kills them all. This one would survive. But I'll just go ahead and get some more ramp. Why not? I want to kill this guy for sure. Let me target Balinda there. And then I guess I'll put Genn on this guy. This is the one that's sped up, so we want it to die. I could intentionally not kill either of these, which I think is what I did. Oh, I didn't even realize I let that one attack. That's fine, though. That's why we got the taunt. It's probably better to have just one come out at a time, because then we can deal with that other sped up guy while we still have these other slow guys and not have that one come back out. 2500 AoE at 7 speed. And then so we'll shoot here. This will also ramp AoE before it goes off. This should redirect to there. I'll go ahead and swing at this. It's got a lot of hit points. This should be enough to kill everything, though, because we're going to get a bunch of extra ramp from these attacks and the shot from Genn. Our big AoE. And now the final boss, the, I believe, frozen Dragonkin Sorcerer, who is no match for our 2700 per shot. So I guess you don't have to have Artillery Strike with this comp, even though we built the whole comp around Artillery Strike. So maybe I'll rethink the comp in general, and we can just beat it this way, and you have 2 extra slots to make it easier. Yeah, I guess. The plan was still to just hit Frost Ritual and then freeze those 2 ads if you got the double Artillery Strike. But I guess if you don't hit Artillery Strike, this works as well. So another option for beating it if you do whiff on those Artillery Strikes. But if you do hit the Artillery Strikes, the plan is you're going to have the 2 Xaravan ads, and you want to have Frost Ritual. So you first want to hide your Frost Ritual and your Frost Ritual activators on the bench because of those 3 speed attacks that can happen before you slow them with Arfus. So you'd want to lead with Arfus, Bwonsamdi, and probably Voone, because Genn and Balinda are just better activators than Voone. And then you would bounce with Bwonsamdi, so he's immune, kill your Arfus off into those 2 Xaravan ads, and then once your bounce is over with, Voone may live or die, it doesn't really matter. Then you bring out your Frost Ritual and 2 of your other mercenaries to activate that Frost Ritual. So out of Balinda, Genn, and Voone, any of them would be fine. And then you just chain freeze those 2 enemies. I think it's also possible to win if you hit Icy Arrival instead of Frost Ritual. but you would need them to not use too many melee attacks, because you're going to have to try to stop them with the Icy Arrival and the bounces and your frost or your water elementals and your summons from Genn to block some of those melee attacks. And if too many attacks are coming at you, you probably won't be able to get through it, but there is a possibility there. Also, if you do use Icy Arrival and attempt that boss with just those enemies, the Icy Arrival will not activate on the first turn. Because when you play your mercenaries out and there's the enemy mercenaries are on the bench, your Icy Arrival activates first, and that's when it allows you to like reorder your mercenaries an extra time before those benchmarks are played. Then the 2 Xaravan ads come out, and they will not be frozen because your battle cry already went off. So you might as well leave your Varden like on the bench on turn 1 if you do attempt it with Icy Arrival, and then just start getting those freezes on after your first bounce with Bwonsamdi. If you do have a line of play where you want Varden in play to like take advantage of the frost ramp from like freezing with a Balinda elemental or something, you could try that, but you would be exposing your Varden to potentially die to whatever unfrozen enemy there is, and you wouldn't have your Arfus slow on them yet. So I would say lead with like Arfus, Bwonsamdi, and probably your throwaway Voone, just like you would if you had Frost Ritual, and then do your Icy Arrival on turn 2 along with Balinda and then being slowed, and then you should be able to lock them out from there and try to build up some water elementals, build up some Genn taunts. If you have Stolen Invitation, you might be able to get some additional mercs in play, so you have, you know, the summons and the freezes, but be careful with your water elemental board space too, because you do want to stock up as many of those as you can, and then you want to rely on your Ice Lance as often as it's up and your Genn summons as often as possible to sort of prolong the fight. And then if you get a low enough Fel anomaly and they cast enough of those Fel lashes instead, especially if you have Stonehearth Salvation, you can probably out heal a lot of that Fel damage and block all of the like 7,000 damage melee swings with freezes and taunts, and then you can probably still win with Icy Arrival if you get good enough ability RNG. So a couple different ways to win with this comp. Very difficult no matter which one you go with. The easiest by far is hitting the double artillery strike and the frost ritual, but as you can see, it's very difficult to actually hit that because of how much RNG is involved. Got my check mark. I'm not running this again. If you want to see how it can be beaten with other comps, you can do that yourself. Good luck. And then Celestials might be an option as well. If you have enough Celestial Protection, bring your 3 Celestials, hit probably 2 or 3 Celestial Protection, depending on your levels. You may be able to get through these bosses with them as well. Because there's so much green damage on the last fight, I would say you probably want to leave Chi-Ji out of the comp. So it's probably Nu Zhao, Yulan, and Zwen. But I'm not certain about that. And you still have to beat the second and third boss with them. So depending on how all that goes and your treasure luck with Celestial Protection, it could still be a really difficult day. I'm not sure. I don't usually run Celestials very often. So that's day 2. And good luck on your runs, because you're going to need it if you try this one. Day 1's going to be our best farm day so far, but it's not a very good farm day. So I'm currently just waiting for something better to come along. I'm probably not really going to farm either of these days. We'll just see what we get for the rest of the week. Good luck and see you in the next one.